Hey, my brothers and sisters, I pray all is well with you. We have entered into our revival season and we are going strong with the theme, I will fear no evil, based on Psalm 23. You know, there are times when we have to fight and cause good trouble, as John Lewis exemplified. However, it seems in these days we are fighting every day, dealing with police brutality, healthcare apartheid, unequal employment, systemic racism, unfair housing and education, and the list is growing daily, especially going through this COVID pandemic. America has her skirt lifted, and the world is seeing her tail. Some say it might get worse before it gets better, but ask yourselves, what am I fighting for? And what can I fear if I'm walking boldly with God? We either sit down, stand up, lock arms, march on, speak truth to power, run for office, or hold elected officials to the fire. Whatever the method of protest, we are still fighting for the right to live Black in America. We are surrounded by trouble, yet we can stand in the face of evil without fear. How we take action looks different for each of us, but it is only through the authority of God that we can enact change. Watch as a few of our members discuss how they have decided to take action in today's climate.
My philosophy is very simple. When you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, say something, do something, get in trouble, good trouble, necessary trouble.
It's 52 years after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and we are still fighting for civil rights. Today, I'm fighting for Black lives because Black lives matter. Right now, what is on display is anti-Blackness, and it is raising the consciousness about the connectedness of so many of our struggles, which are not the same, but very much connected.
My fight really is for the future.
For the generation behind me.
For Kenya Johnson's children, Jeremiah children, so they can have a better opportunity than we had.
I don't want my kids to go through what I went through, or go through what my father, uncles, friends, grandfathers went through. Like, I don't want that for them.
My fight is to make sure that we do not leave them a world that's ripped apart at the seams. We're still fighting over who's right and who's wrong. I really don't want them to inherit that world.
I'm working for the fact that I will be able to be equal later in my life, at the peak of my life. I'm fighting for justice.
For my people, my community. The way I would protest is definitely through my gifts, through writing, speaking up where and when I can.
I am in absolute advocacy and protests for my children and any other Black children in their schools. So I say what I need to say, and I put their foot to the fire. The Amy's and the Karens and all these people running these schools who want to inform you of what they think may or may not be the best for you. So that is a form of protest, I feel like. When you put people's foot to the fire, that's a strength of mine, right? I'm not sure that I am best suited to go out and protest, but I feel like I have a stronger voice in writing to people in powerful positions to let them know I see you and you're not pulling one over on me, and you're certainly not pulling one over on my children.
I really believe that each one teach one. If I have any kind of information that could be positive for Kenya to use for her son, or for Jeremiah's parents to use for him, I think that we should absorb any kind of information that we get and pass it on to someone else.
Yeah, that ties into access. And also, I mean, you've got to go into that context. You do better if you know better. If they know better at a younger age, they'll make better decisions as young women and full adults. We know some really dynamic professional women that we call family, you know, doctors and judges and lawyers and entrepreneurs and photographers that so many of our young girls of color have no access to. So just being that outlet for them is my protest. Teaching them how to network, teaching them you know, what a leader really looks like in the work that they do, teaching them about finances and about stocks and about investing, making sure that they know their history and they know who our people were and the impact that they've had on the community and the resources that we use every day.
I think my fight is within myself to try to figure out how to use my voice. Because I think I can speak in certain moments, and then in other moments, I become very mute. And I don't think that that's always a good thing, because those are the moments when I should be speaking and using what I have to say.
My presence is my resistance. So I think that just being present in certain places, in certain areas, in certain venues have made a difference. Just being present and being who I am and giving what I have to give.
This thing of Black excellence is counterproductive in a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of have devoted my life to fighting for Black mediocrity, right? fighting
That's
for,
okay. Okay, not to be perfect.
Exactly. You know, that we will still be afforded the same chances of messing up, the same chances of, you know, having opportunities and not necessarily doing 100 at it, but at least getting the opportunity to do the thing. And that also looks like education, right? Like teaching each other how to be better, how to make a better version of ourselves, of our communities, so that we can thrive on our own. That doesn't really sound like mediocrity, but practice makes perfect, right? So we if we allow ourselves the space to not be perfect, we can grow and not feel like because we fall short, we give up.
I'm fighting for my students to understand what it means to be Black in a white educational institution. So always using my platform as a teacher to not only teach what the school system wants me to teach, but influencing my kids in a way that they understand Black history, that they understand Black resistance, that they understand Black revolution through the lens of arts or through the lens of sociology. And my protest looks like going with them to demonstrations that are outside. It looks like giving them information on how, if they're afraid to do something, this is what you can do in order to get your voice heard.
I am now in the business of trying to encourage the young people to get as much education as you possibly can, making certain that you represent the community in a very positive way.
I'm really pushing leadership and developing leadership amongst not just our young people, but amongst everyone that I encounter and I work with. Leadership is a very Christian concept because Christ did it right. The way my protest look is trying to reclaim the definition of leadership, getting everyone to understand that it's everybody's business. I really feel that when we get to the point that everybody understands what leadership means and that they all have an obligation or role to step up as a leader, that we will see God's kingdom being realized here on earth.
I'll say that my fight looks like political equity, economic elevation and inclusion, and the destruction of isms that fuel oppressive systems. And my fight looks like prayer, looks like fasting, looks like education, and my fight looks like trusting in God and partnering with God, but also with those who are like-minded as it relates to the liberation of God's people.
We who believe in freedom and God with us. Come on. We hear